Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the MCM game stage. Yes, enthusiasm, I like it. Brilliant. So we've got an amazing 45 minutes, 50 minutes ahead of you. We've got a fantastic panel who I'm about to welcome to the stage. Going to get a huge round of applause for the TT Games All-Star Cast. Gentlemen, please take a seat. I will stand over here. I will give you the spotlight. I've hugged enough of it. So, first things first, can you each introduce yourself? Arthur?
Hello, everybody. My name is Arthur Parsons. I am the game director at Traveller's Tales that was most recently responsible for LEGO Marvel Superheroes.
Hello, I'm James McLoughlin, and I'm the game director on LEGO The Hobbit.
Got to. I'm Dan McCreadie. I'm assistant game director. Last game I worked on was LEGO Hobbit.
Hi, I'm Graham Goring. I'm lead story designer, I think, at TT Fusion. Last game I worked on was LEGO Movie.
Marvellous. That's a big cheer there. So what we're going to do, we're going to go work our way down the panel, game at a time, run a trailer first, talk to Arthur, and then we'll run another trailer, and we'll work our way down the line before we open it up to every lovely person here. Can we roll the first trailer, please, gentlemen?
Peggy 7.
What does it mean to be a hero? It's more than just superpowers and costumes. It's being scared, but standing tall anyway. It's digging deeper and pushing further than you ever thought you could. In the face of unthinkable evil, true heroes band together to do what's right. Oh dear. Sometimes it takes extraordinary circumstances to prove that maybe, just maybe, there's a hero in all of us.
Gentlemen, the situation is dire. I welcome any ideas.
Maybe the bad guys can help.
Woo! That was me. Woo. So we're going to talk with Arthur about LEGO Marvel Superheroes. How many people have played it? Hey, there you go, look.
That's good. That's a good number.
You're a popular man.
Happy with that.
So LEGO Marvel Superheroes, a little bit different to normal LEGO games, it's safe to say. Hundreds of characters. I mean, how did you approach the development on that compared to other LEGO games?
The LEGO Marvel Superheroes was all about injecting as much Marvel into the game as possible. You're all Marvel fans, right? Because we're at Comic-Con, Marvel, comics, etc. So I'm a massive comic fan. So for me, it was throw as many characters at the page as possible and then try and make a coherent story out of it. And that's what we did. We really had a lot of fun writing that story.
So how many LEGO teams are there in the studio working on different games at a time? Because obviously all of you guys work on all different games and you're all part of different teams. So in terms of how many teams do you have going at once usually?
Usually it's three teams or three core teams. We have sort of a little bit of peripheral stuff going on, but normally when so when I was here last October when LEGO Marvel was just coming out, Jimmy and Dan and Graham were busy beavering away with their teams on Hobbit and Movie. So we're normally overlapping each other. So we get a really decent long development time on each game. So there's three core teams.
Do you share assets? How does it work between the teams in terms of?
It works. The way it works is.
Do you have battles in the car park?
Yeah, there are battles.
I'll walk past Jimmy's desk because we sit not too far away from each other. So I'll walk past his desk and I'll see something on his screen and be like, oh, I quite like the look of that. And then it'll be like, yeah, can I do something similar in my game? And then he'll do the same with me. And it's very collaborative. It's great that we all work together because it means that anything that's like truly brilliant, like Hulk in Lego Marvel, we can then go, oh, how can we put that and apply that to another license? You know, Lego Big Figures in another license, in another game. So it's very, very collaborative. And as well as that, we like to rib each other and point out things that aren't so great so we can make them greater.
So it's not like Anchorman battles in the car park, no? Is it?
No. But
It's too pretty for that.
But there are times when it's how's the way of putting it? We're competitive, let's say, between ourselves. That's fair to say, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
So you obviously all work with different brands, and you work with Marvel. How closely did you work with them when developing the game?
I was speaking to Marvel every week, at least once a week. We were speaking with Lego all the time. And I think this applies for movie and for Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, definitely for Harry Potter. We worked really closely with the license holder because, you know, they're trusting us with their brand, and we want to do it justice. We want to make it as brilliant as we can. And the way to do that is to tell them all the way along, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. And it then gives them the opportunity to come back and say, oh, that's brilliant what you're doing. How about also doing this? And rather than it becoming we're the licensors and we're going to tell you what to do, it becomes the licensor, we're going to collaboratively work with you to make this as brilliant as we can. And we love working with the different IP holders, and they love working with us because it's just like a big cuddly get-together, really.
Okay, so that's a quote. That's an official quote right there. TT Games is an official cuddly get-together, right?
That's right, yeah.
We're sticking with that. But that's good. So is there any competition at all? I mean, like, obviously, you teams, do you ever try and secretly one-up each other, or is it a family, so to
There's
speak?
no secret.
No,
we
it's not a secret.
Always try to one-up each other in every single area of every single game. It'll be like, I'm going to put more characters in than Jimmy did, or I'm going to try and put more mechanics, and then Jimmy will come along and go, I'm going to make my hub bigger than yours. I'm going to put more quests in. I'm going to put more crazy content. It's like, I know we've not got to the Hobbit yet, but who's played Lego The Hobbit? Brilliant.
Yeah.
Have you seen it when the whole of Middle-earth turns into a disco? That was one-upmanship. That was Jimmy going, you know what? I'm going to do something you can't do. And so that's how it works. And it's great because it means that you guys get to play the games and there's always crazy, brilliant, amazing stuff. Which I have to say wouldn't be possible without the teams that we've got, because we've got some truly, truly talented people in the office. So, yeah, it's competitive, and yeah, we do one-upmanship, but it's all done lightheartedly, and we just have fun making games.
Right, brilliant. We're going to move on to the next game now because we are literally on a tight schedule. So if we can roll the next trailer, please, gentlemen. It should be here.
Peggy 7.
This is no chance meeting, is it, Gandalf?
No, it was not.
The Arkenstone lies half a world away, buried beneath the feet of a fire-breathing dragon.
Which is why we're going to need a burglar.
I'm going on an adventure!
From the hills of the Shire. To the depths of Goblin Town.
What are you going to do now, wizard?
Beyond the darkness of MIRKWOOD. To the shadow of the lonely mountain. Live the adventure like never before.
Hold your breath. I do believe the worst is behind us.
LEGO The Hobbit.
And gentlemen, welcome. This was your game, right?
Yeah.
So how many of you played it?
There they are.
Did you like it?
Not enough.
Right.
Yeah. Buy it. Go buy it.
Go out and buy it. No, not right now. In about 40 minutes. So obviously, different franchises and your teams work with different franchises and such. Did you feel the added pressure of this being a Lord of the Rings kind of, with the trilogy?
I think it's
Tolkien, right? I mean,
yeah, of course. I mean, it's almost the greatest kind of pressure to have, really, when you think that the thing before was brilliant, and obviously not just Lord of the Rings, which was our creation and our baby, but also we come out after these guys. I mean, Marvel were big shoes to fill, and yeah, we're very proud of what we achieved. I mean, it is great when you've got such great source content from the very beginning. I mean, it's harder to not make a great game with that kind of stuff. Really, it's a pleasure.
It was a massive challenge to try and do one better than Lord of the Rings and take what was really Hello.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
Got that.
Just trying to obviously make Lord of the Rings better. Like all the things that worked well there.
Yeah.
Improve upon and listen to the fans, read the forums, and
it was one of the first things we did was to go through a lot of the fan sites, obviously previous reviews on what people picked up on, and we essentially can't think of many big kind of marquee things we didn't add from things that were asked for. It'd be great if we could have horses. It'd be great if we could travel faster across the world. Obviously, we added the horse customizer, so everyone can make a pink horse with blue dots and everything. So we kind of added as much as we could from what we got from the feedback of a lot of people.
See, this is the thing with LEGO games and TT games is each game is completely different. I mean, you can't take Iron Man and put him in. You can't even take that mechanic and put it in your world. You have to create your own new devices to push gameplay that are fitting with the franchise. How hard is that to actually do?
I think the Iron Man, I would have loved to have Iron Man on it. The most important thing is authenticity. There are loads of mechanics, and sometimes we get accused of, we just got that from X, Y, Z. I wish it was that simple. It really isn't. It's always important to think of what flavour your game's going to be. I mean, we were great in the fact that we had Lord of the Rings before us, so we knew the ballpark we were aiming for. We were kind of going to go for something where we brought on the enhancements of the crafting. We've got loot systems, which makes it feel a little bit more RPG light, which was a big thing for us. And it wasn't really difficult to work it in because the dwarves are renowned craftsmen. And that was one of the things we brought into the game from the very early moments. We wanted to make it so it wasn't just collecting mithril. There were so many other objects that the player could collect off bad guys, make the combat more interesting because the guy dropped a little gem over there, so you want to go get it. That kind of thing it kind of come naturally, I think, very easily.
So in terms of at the beginning stage, do you read the books, watch the films? Do you work out what major mechanics you want into the game based on that? Is that how it works?
Yeah. I mean, I think obviously we can't start designing levels until we know what's going to go in them. I mean, there are big points that we're definitely going to cover. Yes, the Storm Giant fight's going to be there, but we don't know at the very start who fits what the best. So one of the main things we do is we sit down and we watch the films billions of times. So we were very lucky to get advanced screenings of Desolation, which is great from Peter Jackson's crew. They flew us over, and we got to see a very, very early version of it where there was literally like grey screens and stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it was storyboards, and there's times where he was actually talking. He was actually delivering people's lines because he hadn't got them back in yet and stuff. So it was that early we saw it, and from that point we knew, okay, we're gonna have bow mechanics, we're gonna have the stacking. Obviously, the buddy up stuff was something we wanted to make the dwarves feel a bit more unique as well. With obviously a lot of people with beards and stuff, but they've all got their own unique abilities, and obviously we've got a load of mechanics that work when you buddy up, get on each other's shoulders. It's that kind of cooperative style we wanted to get across with the company as is in the film. It was a kind of driving point for a lot of the mechanics at the very start, and we just moved from there really.
It must be a lot harder or easier, you tell me, to work with a franchise that has a story unlike Arthur, on the other hand, who's like, yeah, do whatever you want, within reason kind of thing. Is
Well,
that
I
harder
don't know.
or easier? I'm not sure.
It depends. I mean, you can, I suppose, make a rod for your own back in some degrees. But most of the time, you kind of, the stories we pick and the IPs we pick are great. You know, they're made to make games for. And I mean, one of the things that a lot of people say about Desolation is it actually watches like a game in many regards. The big points of the film are very similar. So for us, it was easy to take that and make a great game out of it. I don't really think we struggled. I mean, we even made a level based on the little plate juggly part of the start of Unexpected Journey. So from that regard, I think it's proven that we can make, you know, levels and Lego levels out of nearly every storyline. I have been on a game when we did original Batman, of course, and stuff. When we did our own story, wrote our own story and stuff, and that was cool. You know, the little Riddler on the toilet situation. You know, we've got all that kind of stuff going on, and it's easier to write that kind of stuff in. But at the same time, you can have a really serious moment, as we've shown in Lord of the Rings and Hobbit, and you can still have, like, you know, Thranduil sitting on the toilet in the background, or his elk trying to get on his throne and stuff. It's just as easy to put those visual gags in.
Brilliant, gents. Thank you very much. We're now going to move on to the third and final. Some would say the best, some wouldn't, but we'll let you be the judge. Can we roll the trailer, please, folks?
Peggy 7.
F-I-G-O-S-H.
I only work in black. That's my kind of Lego brick.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Do it.
I think I got it, but just in case, tell me the whole thing again. I wasn't listening.
Round of applause.
Woo!
First thing, does the game really do that to your hair? Well, does the game really do that to your hair?
It does. You have to
except
buy
my
an
hair.
expensive add-on and do it yourself. Basically, we sell fans.
Brilliant. Right, so first thing, fun fact. Graham used to be a stand-up comedian. How does a stand-up comedian get into games development, specifically script writing?
The two things go really well together, to be honest with you, because Lego games are full of sort of daft jokes, and that's what I used to do. I used to do one-liners, daft jokes. And so one day, basically, I was seen by one of the people that works at our place doing stand-up, and he thought, well, let's give him a crack at the script on this game, which was Lego City Undercover, and it went well. So simple as that, really. Serendipity.
So I'm going to ask, just before we move on to the actual game, favourite joke? Went down well with the crowds?
Okay, now most of my best ones are rude, so I'm not going to do one of those.
Okay.
But I met an old lady at the edge of the road, and she asked me to help her cross over to the other side, so I killed her. So.
Come on.
That was the cleanest. That was the cleanest.
That's the best it's ever gone. So.
Okay. This is why you write scripts now. So you must be quite happy that they actually started to put voices into Lego games.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a job otherwise. So yeah, absolutely, it's fantastic. The old ones obviously had a massive amount of charm on their own, but I like verbal jokes, I like wordplay and puns and things like that. So it's been a perfect fit for me.
So effectively, the film spawned from the games because the visual style, and now the game spawned from the film. That must be an odd kind of paradox that you've just gotten us into. I mean, how was that from your side? Did you take cues from old Lego games, your other franchises, or was it you were looking at the movie, the more CG style?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, we take gameplay cues from the previous ones, but one of the lovely things about the Lego Movie was the fact that everything was Lego, and we hadn't done that before in one of our games. We hadn't made it all the actual world out of Lego, so that was like something new to do. And the animation style was different in previous games. Obviously, the characters, they can bend their legs in a way that Lego can't really do, but in the film, it acts like it's stop motion, and so we did that in the game as well. So that was like a really refreshing change from the artistic point of view.
So from a script writing perspective, where did you start with the movie? I mean, what was your design process when you started it out? How did you get it on paper, and how does it get into a final script?
Well, for LEGO Movie, it was a case that they sent us an animatic, and so we had a very clear idea where these big action moments occur in the actual movie, and that's where we take as our jumping off points for the levels. And then, so once you've actually got the levels, and obviously in the movie that sequence might last 30 seconds, whereas we're building like a 10-minute long level out of it. So really, it's my job to sort of just join A to B, basically to put lots of jokes in there and just to make the player know what they're meant to be doing next. So it's just really expanding upon what the filmmakers had already done. They really did a lot of the work for us in many ways. Many of the mechanics were inspired by the film, like instruction builders and master builders and things like that.
So structure-wise, it's completely different to the other two games we've got on stage. And it's actually, obviously, because it's the movie and things like that. Was that trickier for you because you don't get the freedoms? Let's take LEGO Marvel, you get a lot of freedom in that. The Hobbit, you've got to stick to a storyline, but you get the big sandbox areas as well. You guys, it doesn't really work like that when you've got a movie, right?
I think if it were a different movie, it might have been sort of constraining. But the fact is, if you've seen the LEGO Movie, it's incredibly imaginative. It's got all these wonderful locations. The fact that they go between, all these different sort of effectively LEGO sets throughout through time. So it really didn't constrain us because, every couple of levels there was some new exciting location and a new sort of gameplay device we could put in there that was sort of unique to that location. So in this case, it wasn't constraining at all. It really was just a wonderful leaping off point for us.
How conscious were you of strictly sticking to the movie? I mean, did you have much creative freedom outside of doing your own thing? I know you said the 10-minute levels thing, but beyond that kind of thing, adding in new scenes, or was that not in your remit? Was it stick to this and just flesh it out?
We pretty much stuck to the story. I mean, we obviously only have about 20 minutes of cutscenes in the game, so we have to do a very sort of cliff-noted version of the movie. So there wasn't really time to expand and do things that were outside of it. And plus, we didn't want people to play the game and then see the movie, or vice versa, and think, well, hang on, these are wildly different. It is the LEGO Movie video game.
If somebody played the game, though, and they hadn't seen the film, would they get anything out seeing the film and vice versa?
Obviously, it's best to see the film first. I mean, like I say, it tells like a shortened version of the story, and we leave out certain plot beats because really, the movie needs to show those because they're big emotional plot beats that I won't spoil. But it was very deliberate the way we did things.
Finally, is everything really awesome?
Everything is awesome.
Brilliant. Right, round of applause to the chaps, and then we're going to turn it over to you guys. Right, let's see some hands. Actually, first, we have some goodie bags. Can we get the goodie bags? We got the goodie bags? I'll get the goodie bags.
I want a goodie bag.
So anybody who asks a question gets an amazing goodie bag. We have 12. The first 10. Right, we're going to wander towards the back to start with. I have 3 in my hand, and hopefully more will be brought to me. Let's go. Let's go here.
Who's your favourite character in the LEGO Movie?
Benny Spaceman. Spaceship, spaceship, spaceship. He's the best, I think. He's fantastic. And working with that particular actor was wonderful as well. Charlie Day's really funny guy.
What was it like working with voices for the first time in LEGO Batman 2?
That's a bit of a one.
I guess that's one for me. I had a hand in Batman 2 as well. I mean, obviously, LEGO City Undercover did it first, but it was amazing. It just gave us so much more freedom to kind of tell the story, which is obviously, a LEGO Batman movie. And, it was great. Obviously, very different than what we've done in the past, in terms of, the old style, motivation and humour, but, I thought it worked. It was great.
Right, we're back here on your left.
How are you going to improve LEGO games? How big are they going to get in the future?
Well, The Hobbit was huge. Anyone who's played it through, I'm surprised you actually had time to be here. I'm surprised you're not still there plugging away at it. To be fair, it's not really something we consciously think about, is it? They just kind of evolve. We started off as a brief. In my head, anyway, I was telling the team that we weren't going to make a massive one this time, and then we did. So I would expect the trend to continue, really. I mean, we don't consciously think about playthrough time or size because we just try and put as much content in as we possibly can, and it just kind of it just evolves to be that, really. Yeah.
What we do is we don't necessarily think of like going bigger each time. What we do is we try and Jimmy mentioned it before, authenticity. We treat every single brand as the first time we've ever done it, and we try and make sure that the game we do is the best game that you could possibly make of that brand, whether it's Harry Potter, whether it's movie, whether it's Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, or Marvel. So all we try and do is make sure fans of that brand or fans of LEGO video games are going to love it, and it will be everything they ever wanted.
Brilliant. Right in the middle. There we go.
Just wondered, are you allowed to tell us what game's coming next?
If we wanted to get new jobs, yes.
With the microphone in my hand, that's probably a very dangerous question. If you look at the games in terms of the order that they came out, LEGO Marvel came out just before Christmas. Then it was movie, and then it was The Hobbit. So in this cycle of 3, I'm probably going to be next, at which point I will hand the microphone to James.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm not going to tell you either because I like my job. So
watch this space, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're always exciting announcements. Happy about the 3 we've got, aren't we? And the ones we've got, yeah. If you haven't bought it already, all 3. But if you have bought all 3, there are exclusive discounts available, I believe. On the pod, the game guys will sort you out.
Was that a plug? Just
you like that?
Shameless.
Shameless.
For those people watching online, you can get them on Amazon, by the way.
Or the retailers are available. In the comments. Yeah.
Hi. I just have to ask, since this is obviously coming out, Marvel or DC? In other words, which do you prefer?
Which do I prefer?
Yes.
Was that I love both equally and the same because they're both awesome. Everything is awesome.
Excellent.
I like it. It's cross-promotional advertising here. Let's go here.
What's your favourite game you've done?
Okay, so I've got one of the mics, so I'll start. Favourite game? My favourite game is probably Batman 1. We talk about it all the time. It was kind of, well, not Arthur's. Was that your first LEGO game, or...? Yeah. So it was my first LEGO game that I worked on. I had the pleasure of working on, and I think that probably a lot of nostalgia going on there. But I mean, I love the suits, I love the changing, and for me, it was a real kind of gamer's game, that one for me. And yeah, that's my favourite. I know what Arthur's going to say, but I'll give him it anyway.
Well, we'll let Graham go first.
LEGO City Undercover for me, because it was just a blast to write it and record it with the actors. It was just it was a wonderful 3 years. Took a while, but yeah, that's for me.
I very much like pretty much all of the ones that we've worked on. Harry Potter has a place in my heart because it was a very long period of time making the 2 games. Love Batman for those reasons. I love LEGO City Undercover. If you haven't played it, play it because the writing's fantastic. But for me, it's Marvel because I got to meet Stan Lee and I got to play with all the characters that I grew up on. Fantastic Four, the X-Men, the Avengers, Howard the Duck, you name it. Their characters are in there. So we're just very lucky. We're very lucky, aren't we? Dan, what about you? What's your favourite?
Lord of the Rings, definitely. I mean, it was just a case of we were gifted with, the franchise, and the challenge was there to make a good Lord of the Rings game, and hopefully, we did that.
Yeah, I mean, the Lord of the Rings had games before, clearly, but I think both the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit give the best kind of Tolkien experience you're ever going to get. I mean, there's no one out there that I think will outdo the world we built them. So, yeah, brilliant.
But they've all been fun to work on, but Lord of the Rings was quite special for me.
Brilliant. Well, right at the back.
Right, I've got 2 points. Number 1, we should be friends. And number 2, have you thought about doing like LEGO versions of like anime or like Adventure Time? Because I'd be all over that.
I don't know if that's crossed anyone's minds. My daughter who sat behind there loves Adventure Time, so I don't quite understand it.
It's just awesome.
I think I'm just too old.
It's really good.
So.
Have you not watched it? It's brilliant.
I'm just a confused old man. I'm not down with the kids, no. I tried to be.
Right, next.
If you could be any one character from any LEGO movie, who would it be? Any LEGO game, who would it be?
Well, I actually shamelessly made myself a character in The Hobbit, which is Gimli the blacksmith. It is a bit of a shameless plug, that, but what can I say? I'm vain. But my actual favourite character is Gimli. You know, kind of model this superb physique on such a man. So yeah, that would be mine.
I would be Frank Honey because he's an idiot, but he never loses his job, and I really relate to that.
Probably Batman, definitely.
I like Catwoman because I like Michelle Pfeiffer very much.
Okay. Right.
If you could turn any movie franchise into a Lego game, obviously not including the ones that you know are coming out, what would your choices be? Mine would be James Bond.
Well, there are. That's the loaded question, really. To be fair, I think we've covered the classics. You know, I mean, there's loads of IPs we've already covered that we all loved. You know, I suppose for me, we kind of covered the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, which for me is almost, dare I say it, the Star Wars of my generation. I'm only 31, by the way. Disclaimer. So you know, I think we've been very lucky in what we've already covered, I'd say. And you know, there's always new things, and we always want to turn our hand to something new, and you know, watch this space. There's always new things creeping out. You never know when something new will show up. We do, but you don't. And we'll keep it that way because again, we like our jobs.
Not me, but I would do Lego Doctor Who because I love Doctor Who. Not a movie, but yeah. Yeah,
that's a popular choice. Right.
Hello. I was just wondering, from concepting from the start, when you get the brief, to when you release the game, how long it takes from start to finish, and how big the teams are that work on each game?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, we had very similar kind of dev cycles on Marvel and kind of Hobbit in the end. I mean, we work on from concept to finish about 18 months, and you know, me and Arthur, obviously we share the same facilities, we share the same building and stuff. The Wilmslow lads are in Wilmslow, and you know, I think from about 18 months, and then we got like a solid. We kind of start with a skeleton crew, which is like me and like, you know, less than 20 or something we start off with, and then we basically, when one project ends, the team that are now kind of have finished their project, kind of luckily move on to the next one, which is kind of halfway through or midway through, and we kind of start that way. So I'd say from concept, about 18 months, something like that. Yeah, about that.
Brilliant.
Hello, probably a stupid question, but you're only doing the 2 movies for The Hobbit in the first game. Is the 3rd movie coming out as a separate game, or...?
We have got plans for some content for the 3rd movie. And we're back again. And yeah, we'll be announcing them in the future, so you know, keep your ear out. As always, as I say, there's always exciting stuff happening, you know, lots of new things coming out. And yeah, all I can say about that right now is there are things planned. We do have content planned, and we will be announcing it in the future.
Would you ever consider doing a LEGO Captain America game?
Arthur would, yeah.
I don't think exclusively, because obviously Cap plays such an integral part of LEGO Marvel Superheroes that we gave you you know, we tried to give you the experience of everybody: Captain America and Hulk, Iron Man, Spider-Man. So it's everything, and we dialed into a lot of the other areas of Marvel. So you know, LEGO Marvel is the closest you'll get to a Cap game. He is a very, very key part in that game.
Brilliant. Right at the back now.
What stage of the process of making the games do you get that buzz of excitement that eventually everything is going to be awesome?
You know, pretty much from the off. I mean, I'd never worked on a movie franchise game before myself, so that was tremendously exciting. Just the prospect of working with actors like Morgan Freeman and Will Ferrell was like, wow. So yeah, right from the start, and it continues on to when it ends, and then you have a sort of a nervous exhaustion collapse. So.
Yeah, everything sort of. I speak for Jimmy and Dan as well. When we first learn of what we're going to do next, sometimes there's a hideous like squee noise. So when Lego Marvel was coming out, I audibly made very girly noises around the office when I first found out about it, and was running around doing little fist pumps and all the rest of it. So you get excited there. You get excited when you've got your first playable. You get very, very excited when you go to something like E3 or here at MCM, when you actually get to see people playing it. And then you get the excitement when the reviews come out. I think it's very exciting all round. And you know, we are very lucky doing what we do, and we're very lucky doing what we do with the people that we do back in Knutsford and Wilmslow.
Brilliant. We've got time for one more question, and we're going to go here on the front.
Which Marvel character that wasn't in Lego Marvel would you like to see in the next one?
I could answer the question, which Lego Marvel character would I like to see that wasn't in Lego Marvel Superheroes. And I actually got everyone I wanted in there. And I actually went over budget on characters by 50, I think. Probably more, because I couldn't stop. And people kept going, oh, wouldn't it be good if you put this one? And wouldn't it be good if you did that? And wouldn't it be great if you put Guardians of the Galaxy in the game? And it was like, yeah, it would be really good. And we kept going, we kept going, we kept going, we kept going. So there's 7,000 Marvel characters. And you couldn't, well, in fact, there's more than that. There's probably near on 8,000. And you couldn't possibly get anywhere near all of them. So we put what we thought were the best, and then characters like Howard the Duck that are just the furthest out there, and then the Squirrel Girls, and then Stanley. And I think we did it justice. And that's something that we all really try and do, just to reiterate, is we try and make the best games we possibly can. They're all about fun. And you know, if you haven't played any of the 3 games that we've been talking about, feel free to go and play them over on the stand. You know, they're all playable there. If you don't see one of them on there, we can put it on for you, and just to have a play. You know, we enjoy making them so that you can enjoy playing them.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Can I get a huge round of applause? TT Games All-Star panel. Thank you very much, guys. Do stick around, folks. In about 10 minutes, we're showing off Lords of the Fallen, and Wasteland will be here later on. We've got some Oculus Rift, loads of amazing stuff. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.